The Cartoonerific podcast is sponsored by the Wonderful World of Animation Gallery, home of rare and wonderful fine animation art. Visit their website at wwagallery.com. And for our Cartoonerific listeners, you will receive a special 10% discount off any purchase if you purchase by March 25th, 2024. Just go to wwagallery.com and enter code CARTOON10 for your 10% discount. Once again, this discount is only valid until midnight, March 25th, 2024. Once again, visit wwagallery.com.
The following is a Cartoonerific Studios presentation.
It's Cartoonerific. Cartoonerific. It's Cartoonerific. With your host Brian Mitchell.
Welcome to the Cartoonerific podcast. If you're returning from last week to hear this episode, welcome back. My name is Brian Mitchell, and I am your host. I am an animator, director, designer. I've worked on a lot of different things. But this show isn't about me. It's about all the varied talents in the animation business. So we're going to be talking with a lot of interesting people in the weeks ahead. Last week with Matt Bates, we talked to him about his experiences with Disney and Don Bluth, working with Jim Henson on the Muppet Babies, as well as a casual friendship with Stan Lee. He also talks a little bit about working on Teddy Ruxpin. In this week's episode, we talk about a little attraction called the Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera. This attraction was in Universal Studios, Florida, and was actually animated by the Don Bluth Studio in Burbank, California. I happened to work on it for a few minutes. I had left the studio and came back, was assigned to do some in-betweens before I was assigned some animation scenes to do on the Troll in Central Park. Matt ended up working on it. He animated a few scenes with Dastardly Muttley and some other characters from the Hanna-Barbera universe. He's also going to talk about his experiences working on a little attraction for Walt Disney World's Epcot Center, which was a retelling of Beauty and the Beast from LeFou's point of view. He ended up animating on that film, and we're going to talk to him about that as well. This particular episode is a little bit long, so we're going to get right to it. So stay tuned. We'll be back right after this message. Don't go away.
Cartoonerific is the place to be to celebrate hand-drawn animated cartoons. The Cartoonerific podcast features interviews with the magic makers behind your favorite animated cartoons, with episodes uploaded every Friday. Or visit the Cartoonerific blog featuring articles about classic cartoon animation. At the Cartoonerific Gallery, view original animation art and memorabilia from your favorite animated films and TV shows. The company store features exclusive swag from the Cartoonerific universe. And coming soon, brand new world premiere cartoons on the Cartoonerific channel. It's all here. Join the fun at www.cartoonerific.com. That's cartoon, ERIFIC.com. It's Cartoonerific, saving the universe one funny cartoon at a time. And now it's time for our special Cartoonerific guest.
Well, we listened to part 1 and part 2 last week and the week before. Now we're going to part 3 of the Matt Bates interview, the third and final installment of this. Enjoy. I just want to get back to the career thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I've worked everywhere.
You did work everywhere.
I've done a lot of things, and I'm fortunate because I chose to be an independent contractor a long time ago. And I'm blessed to have worked on a lot of things that I chose to work on. And I got to do some stuff through Mattel Toys. I've done a lot of stuff for Walt Disney Imagineering, from developing rides and stuff, working on animation for the parks, just a myriad of things.
I know we probably have a lot of Disney people out here. So, like, what things did you work on? You worked on a Walt Disney World project. Was that the LeFou?
Yeah, we did. I worked on it's called Beauty and the Beast Sing Along. And it's like an 18-minute featurette, and it's all hand-drawn animation, folks, on 16-field paper like we did back in the day, and it was a lot of fun. We worked with Don Hahn. He directed it. Great guy, and he did an amazing job. I got to board it, and just the gags. What it is the retelling of Beauty and the Beast. And it's all from LeFou's perspective. And how he's the one that brought them together, Beauty and the Beast. Not
so
how you saw the movie.
The story has been changed. In LeFou's eyes. Yes.
LeFou is the guy. He's recounting the story. It's from his perspective, and he's the one that really brought everything together. What we'll do, and it. First we did it for Disney Paris, and it went there. They just absolutely loved it. They fell in love with it. Then it went to Walt Disney World, which is in the French Pavilion. And in Epcot, and it's still showing there, I believe. And but that was a lot of fun. And it's all the only new animation is LeFou. There's only 5 or 27 scenes of LeFou. Wedged in the middle of these original scenes from Beauty and the Beast.
Wow! And
it turned out really well, and just a lot of fun to just animate. And hand-drawn animation. And I'd never had a chance to animate LeFou before until then. So that was a lot of fun.
Wow. What are you working on now? What are you working on now? What's going on
right now? I am working with a game studio out of Tel Aviv, and they're called Moon Active. And they're a lot of fun to work with right now. And I get a chance to do everything, develop characters, do some animation, layouts. I get to do a lot of everything.
Wow.
And that's a lot of fun for me. And they're a great little gaming studio. And I shouldn't say little, they do pretty well. And we've got artists all over the world, from Paris, South America, United States. You pick it, and it's there. I mean, we got some amazing painters and artists.
It seems like that's the way the business is going now. It seems like they're just hiring people, people are working at home. They're doing their thing. They're sending their tests.
And I tell a lot of young people who want to animate now. There's so many things. When we were kids, we were young, right? How many studios really were there? I mean, there was Saturday Morning, and then there was a Disney, and then Till Bluth came on the scene. That was it as far as feature films. Really. I mean, it wasn't. There wasn't a lot out there, but now, folks. There's so much out there as far as jobs in animation, and there's the gaming industry, which is just burgeoning, and it's just taking off and making billions of dollars a year. And artists, painters, background artists, animators, digital effects artists. I mean, and when we were learning art, Brian, what was it? Pencil and paper, right?
It was pencil and paper, and a book and a half. On how to do animation, and it wasn't even a good book. It was
that's right, and a cave wall with and drawing on, with the charcoal sticks, and
Yeah, I mean, I had to buy a Super 8 camera to shoot animation.
Yeah,
and, actually, I didn't buy it. My aunt bought it for me.
Oh, that's nice. And that's what we did it back then. I mean, we just, by the seat of our pants, man. We just,
That's it. Duct tape and spit. And,
Yeah. Let's try to rub a little dirt on it, and we got it.
That's it. But I'll tell you, it worked. Yeah, but finding a camera that did, stop motion that shot a single frame at a time.
Yeah.
That was tough.
I mean, kids got everything nowadays. They want to animate. There's so many programs out there.
Just go on the internet. But, even back, there was only one book. I'm sorry, I'm talking from across the room. There's only one book called And it was the Preston Blair book. It was a cartoon animation book, which was about 26 pages, maybe, or 30 pages.
Walter Foster and Preston Blair.
Right. And that was it. And then
that was and listen, they still stand the test of time. I tell you, a lot of young animators that want to learn 2D animation, I said, those are great books. Get them.
Yeah. Because it focused on line of action and squash and stretch, and it taught you all the basic stuff.
Sure.
It always left me a little bit. And when I got that book, I was very confused because I was like, I love the drawings, but it's like squash and stretch. What the heck is, I don't understand anything. But but eventually I understood what they meant. But up until, what was it, 1981? 1981 was when the Thomas Johnson book came out, Disney Animation, The Illusion of Life. And I think it's still in print, right? It's still in print.
Yeah, I believe it is. I believe it is.
Yeah.
That was a great book, too. Yeah, it was, that was the book, I think, at that time that, really broke down what people wanted to know about Disney and how they did things and stuff. That was the book. There's two books out,
which one is by Richard Williams, who sadly passed away not too long ago.
Yeah.
He directed Roger Rabbit and then a bunch of commercials and stuff. And Thief and the Cobbler, which I worked on a little bit after it was pulled from his arms.
Yeah.
Brought to America to finish it.
Yeah.
Not quite the movie that he wanted, but...
No.
And then Eric Goldberg came out with an excellent book. I think it's character animation Crash Course.
Crash Course.
Yeah. But the one interesting thing about the two books, I love the fact that you can get these books, but if you can't draw, if you really haven't, because now if you go and you get these books, it's not going to make you an instant animator unless you have some drawing ability,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I feel bad for the people that don't have that drawing ability and they figure, oh, it's a crash course. I'll learn this and I'll just read it and then I'll know what to do and I'll get a job at Disney. And it doesn't work that way. You got to put in your time. You got to draw. You got to get what did Chuck Jones say? You got to get 100,000 drawings out of your system to actually start drawing well.
Yeah. Yeah. I you know what I do? I tell a lot of young people, I said, take a sketchbook and fill it up just gesture drawing, sketches, quick sketches, not Disney characters, cartoons, none of that. Just draw because
animals, people.
That stuff will come. Don't worry about that. That will come. Just learn how to draw first. Draw.
Do you know what I did? One summer, when I really decided I wanted this more than anything, I got reams of paper, not sketchbooks. I got reams of paper and would watch baseball games. I'd watch anything with some action, football games, whatever, and I would just take a soft pencil or a thick marker, and I would do these quick sketches of just trying to capture the motion, not even just focusing on the form.
Yeah.
And
that's right.
That's what I did one summer. And my goal was to do 300 of these a day.
Yeah. That's you know what? That's exactly what I tell you. It's exactly right, Brian. You just said it.
Yeah.
And any young person that's sitting here, they want to be an animator, buy a marker like what Brian just said, or a brush pen, something that you cannot erase, or get a pencil that has no eraser to it, and go to the zoo with a sketch pad and just draw. And I don't care what it looks like starting out, finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Finish the drawing. If you have to go over it again, finish it.
Right.
Do it as quick and then go on to the next one. And do that and keep doing that until that sketchbook is filled up and look at it.
Yeah. Spend 5 to 10 seconds looking at it and then try to get it down in the next 50.
Yes, exactly. And, and try not, and saying exactly the right thing. That's exactly what I tell people, it's
study the way the body is moving, changing,
right.
The shoulders up, down, the hips out,
Yeah. and drawing will be fun for you. I mean, if you just goof around with it, that's fine too. Listen, if you just want to color on your own time and pick your markers out and paint brushes, that's great. That's a great release. And if if it's a great release for you, man, that is fantastic. And if you want to get better at what you do, just, that's what you need to do. And it's fun. If you're passionate about it, if it's fun to create like that, then you'll have a ball doing it. Don't think about it, just draw it. And it's okay. Listen, we're not building rockets to the moon, folks. It's just a drawing.
It's just a drawing.
It's just,
and you're going to throw
just a drawing.
And I guarantee you the first 1,000 you're going to throw away.
Exactly.
I used to go through them and see if there was one good drawing in there, and then I would pick out maybe 3 and then chuck the rest.
Yeah.
And then eventually, a couple of weeks later, the drawings were getting better. And the key is also exaggerating what you're seeing. So,
sure.
If you see somebody throwing, try to stretch that out more and stretch the legs out more, bring the legs up further, or whatever,
And you brought something to my attention.
Exaggerating it because that's cartooning. That's animation.
And you brought something to my attention yesterday. What was it? We were talking something, and you said something that I would say a broken clock is right twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
And a broken clock is right twice a day. So you may be starting out, but you know what? You might have a happy little accident there, and you nailed something. Stop. Don't keep drawing it. If you like what you got right there, go on to the next one. Figure out what's right about that and go on to the next one. Don't keep trying to improve that one because something might happen to it.
I like it.
Yeah, man.
I'm liking that.
That's right, buddy. Yeah, bud.
What?
There were I tell you what, there were a lot of fun things I got to work on that people never seen. Just development things we'd work on that never came out. There
are many things we haven't even mentioned. And the one thing I'll mention is the Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera ride that was done at Bluth Studios, Sutherland Bluth Special Projects.
Yes.
Which
remember that? That was fun.
Which was over at Universal Florida and Universal California.
Yeah.
I believe, was it? It was in Universal California, right?
Yeah, it was Universal Florida. Yeah.
Yeah. Not in California. It wasn't in California. Maybe later. I don't know.
Yeah. Were you there when we had pictures taken of it? When we finished it, we had to wear a suit and tie.
No, I bolted. I left. I think I left the studio. What, during the Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I ended up doing some in betweens for it. I remember.
Yeah. Yeah. But you were there up until we finished it, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I got a couple of cells from it.
Yeah,
we were done.
I got that. That was
that
for me. That was fun to animate. I never got to animate. I got to do a lot of Dick Dastardly and Muttley, and Chelrick Judson. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, never got a chance to Fred Flintstone. I mean, come on, man. It was like
right. I think what happened was I left and I came back and you guys were in the middle of it.
Oh, okay.
And so the scenes were animated, but they needed help on the in-betweens because I came back as an animator.
Yes, that's right. I remember now.
Yeah. So, I was animating scenes. I think Elroy and Dick Dastardly and Right.
So and it had to all be on one. I remember.
And it was I was only on it for like a week.
Right. Yeah, I was on it from the get-go, man. I think it was a nice little break because we got paid a lot of money for that. I think that's why we kind of put everything else on hold. Right. And we did that because they gave us a lot of money for that gig. And so John said, "Okay, everybody, stop what you're doing, put your pencils down. We're going to be working on this now.
We're going to work on this stuff."
Yeah.
What I find, I've watched it a couple of times, and it's a very weird. I mean, it's basically a ride.
Yeah, it is
for the people out there listening to this. All 5 of you listening to the podcast. I know there's more than 5. It's probably about 7. But no, It is the weirdest animation because most of the time you're looking at characters' backs.
Right.
Right. Because you're basically chasing, you're supposedly chasing Dick Dastardly.
Yeah.
And so,
but you know what?
You're going forward, but you're facing all the characters' backs, and there's all these cheats, like 3/4 cheats, where you see the side of Fred Flintstone's face.
Muttley and Dick Dastardly, yeah, true. I mean, they were kind of small in the picture, and you saw everything in front of them, which was all the real character-driven stuff as they went through the different towns, Scooby-Doo, and all that stuff.
That's the neat part of it. I think the only time you actually see them facing front is, I think it's the end with Yogi Bear and the beginning with Yogi Bear, I think.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
When you kind of run into, I guess it's Scooby and Shaggy, and then you kind of see them frontal view, but then the rest is basically, and then there's one point where the Jetsons come in and you actually see them in their car, their space car, whatever that is.
Right. Yeah. That space car, that rocket space car, whatever.
The rocket space car, where I think, they
at that time, though, remember 3D? Yeah, at that time, 3D was kind of new too. It was like, if I saw it now, it's like, man, that's kind of crude, right? But at that time, it was pretty intense.
It was kind of state of the art at the time.
Yeah, very state of the art.
Yeah,
very state of the art.
I mean, I thought it was very neat. I mean, you're in motion simulator chairs or whatever they put you in.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that very similar to Star Tours. If people out there, the ride was like Star Tours.
Right.
It was, and I was there when they brought us over to Universal, right? Mm-hmm. And actually, I think it was on the lot of. It was either Universal. I think it was Universal. They brought us into this big kind of sound stage, right?
Right.
All the animators, all the artists, right?
Was it a mock-up? It was a mock-up of the ride?
Yeah, it was. It looked like a train car, those big block train cars.
Uh-huh.
And they put us on this, and we were getting in this thing, and all these kind of hydraulics and stuff. And there's another story I want to tell you too. When I was at Disney, very similar. But so we got on this thing, and we're sitting in these chairs, and they're all kind of stacked. And there was a screen in front of us, and it was dark. And when the door shut, and then the lights went on, then the screen, all we saw was 3D. Just they had all the 3D stuff done, no character stuff yet, just 3D, and it was all kind of like
that was Rhythm and Hues, right?
Yeah, Rhythm and Hues, right? And that thing started, and we were like being thrashed around. It was cool. I mean, it was like, it was really, we came out of there thinking, oh, wow, man, that's a ride, man. That's a fun little ride,
Yeah.
We got excited actually to work on it, It was like pretty cool.
Well, that's why, I guess that's why they did that. But also to know how you fit in.
Yeah. And I'll tell you another little story that ties into that. When I was at Disney, and at the time, they were right across. When I just started there, they had this big parking lot across the street, and we were on Flower Street.
Right.
Back when they had where we were in, we weren't in the main building, and they hadn't had the Hat building that everybody recognizes now. They didn't have that built, and so we're out on Flower Street, and they had a big. It's very similar. It was a big box car. Right. And everybody was in line. We were like, what's going on over there? And it was over at WDI. It was in the parking lot right outside WDI.
Right.
And everybody's getting on this thing and coming off and like, whoa, wow, that's crazy, man. It was just a big box with all these hydraulic, these levers on. And the thing went up in the air, would come down, and it was incredible.
Right.
And people came out of there thinking it was like, we're thinking, what? They're like a popcorn machine, man. It's like, what is going on?
Right.
You know what that was? That was Star Tours.
Oh, wow.
They were testing it out. And that's just before Star Tours, came to Disneyland. And she got to sit on a couple of buddies of mine. And I didn't know what it was for. And then we found out later that was Star Tours. There you go.
So you actually saw basically it's the attraction that's in Disney.
Yeah, we're in the mock-up, and it wasn't anything like they have it now. It wasn't a pretty old thing. It was just a big box with all these hydraulics and things attached to it.
Right.
And it was crazy, man. It was a scene, dude. But it was a scene. It was a lot of fun. That's
a pretty amazing ride.
Yeah, it is.
It really, and, you think you're flipping over and stuff like that, and it's just.
Oh yeah.
So
and when you're watching it. you're watching it from the outside looking, just from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, it's just moving around and it's doing these things and stuff. It's not as impressive, but when you get in and you can see a screen in front of you and it's taking you places and it's moving, then it just makes you it'll make you sick if you're woozy, you just shut your eyes through it. But if you're motion sickness, it's going to get to you. But it's an insane ride in the inside, and the outside it's different, but when you see it from the outside, it's a whole other thing.
I wonder how many people have thrown up in that torture chamber.
Well, you know what? If
I love the ride. I'm just being a jerk.
No. If you're interviewing my brother, he'd be able to tell you some stories. But I used to sit next to my brother. I won't mention his name.
Yeah.
But sit next to my little brother.
I'm sure probably ends in Bates, right? Way halfway there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're
I'm
halfway
sorry.
there.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Well, I was sitting next to him, and he just shut his eyes to the whole thing, man.
Really?
He just, there's no way, because he would get to him, man. It was like, there's no way, man. I would just be laughing,
right.
trying to, I'm trying to watch the screen, but I'd just be laughing looking at him. He just shut his eyes to the whole thing.
I know somebody who gets sick on a merry-go-round.
Oh yeah, no, this is
I mean, this is This is basically sensory overload.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I don't like things that spin around. Anything that spins around, just spins and spins and spins fast. I mean, I'm not into those things. I'll my breakfast will come right up. But my older brother could.
Well, Star Tours is not like that where it's spinning around.
No,
it's actually it's cool.
Yeah, it's tame. It's tame. It's but like I said, if you're like you said, if you're a little motion sickness, if you get a little sick during things and stuff, like you said, people get nauseous during them. What is a merry-go-round, and this is not for you,
right?
But but I had there's so many things that places I worked and stuff that I had a lot of fun doing, and like I said, a lot of stuff didn't see the light of day, but I just enjoyed the opportunities that I had, just drawing on different things, working with a lot of talented people, such as yourself, man. And, but it's been a great, and you're a dear friend of mine too, so just all the people that I've met in this, and all the people I've met in this industry and stuff like that. It's the little stories that you have and you make and along the way, and the things you've worked on, and a lot of fun things. And I'm just incredibly blessed to have done a little bit of it. So
good. I'm glad. I'm glad you feel good about. I cherish those times. And, because they're fun. They're fun times. I mean, there was a lot of hard work too. But
oh sure. But we don't talk about those things.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. The time when you're working on a scene for like 12 months, and the guy keeps coming in, the production manager, and say, okay, where is it? Where is it? Or you spend 2 weeks, 3 weeks working on a 45-foot scene with a friend of yours, and you're all excited about it, and then the director comes in and tells you, hey, we're rewriting the script. Yeah, we're cutting that.
So put your pencil down.
Let me have the scene. Don't grab a cup of coffee because we're gonna give you more pain.
It's like oh man, it's like but it's just part of the job.
So let me ask you a question: if you had, is there one thing like so we're not going to say how old you are because
why not?
What are you like 32, right?
Yes.
You got into the business when you're like a wee baby.
I was 5.
Yeah, there you go. the youngest animator ever.
Yeah, but I don't like
Muppet Baby. A baby doing Muppet Babies. Yes.
Listen, I want to stay humble, Brian. I want to stay humble, buddy.
Yes, you're the king of humble.
Yeah.
Well,
ask away, buddy. You got a question, man? Ask.
I do have a question because I think we should wrap this up.
I know you wrote down a lot of questions you wanted to answer that were just like pearls.
Yeah, they were gems. The Emmy was for Muppet Babies, right?
Yeah, for model design.
Wow, and that was early on. That you probably thought you're going to get one of those every year.
No. I just thought, I remember, and I had left Marvel, and I was in the mail. They sent, the funny thing is, I had left Marvel and stuff like that. So I get this thing, and it's from model design, and I thought, no, never again. You know, I just thought, you know, why me?
What, what was it? A nomination, or you received something? Did you receive the award in the mail?
No, it won the Emmy for the actual show. It won and it won I think for the next, after I left, man, it kept winning. It was like the number one Emmy winning, number one cartoon show, I think, for Saturday morning cartoon for the next 4 or 5 years.
I'm sure that made Hanna-Barbera very angry.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, and
they had that Smurf show that was.
Well, they had a lot of shows.
They had a lot of shows. The Pac-Man, the show.
Yeah, but you know what? For me, it just started going downhill, man. I thought the golden era was when they were doing when Bill and Joe were calling the shots, and they were doing, you know, Yogi Bear. They were doing all this Hong Kong Phooey. That was a fun show. You know, they were doing a lot of great shows, and then Pac-Man, and then they got into this other stuff, and I thought, man, they're just running out of ideas, you know. And
you know, when you do Rubik's The Amazing Cube as a TV show, you know you've really hit Drek. You know,
right?
You're scraping, you're below scraping the bottom of the barrel. You know,
and that's too bad, because I love those old days, the Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Oh, the early. I'm gonna try to get a couple of Hanna-Barbera people on here, because they had really good designs. They had really fun ideas. I mean, the early Yogi Bear and Huckleberry Hound and Pixie and Dixie's, they're very, very limited, but they're very, very fun. And there's a Yogi Bear cartoon. It could have been an MGM cartoon, you know. It was just, but it's so limited. I think it's called Pie Pirates, and it's very early, but it's really, really a fun cartoon. And they were doing pretty good work up until maybe, I want to say, maybe 1971, 72, 73. You know, they had occasional bursts of creativity.
Genius.
Yeah. But after that, it was kind of like they're just running Scooby-Doo into the ground. They're running Yogi Bear into the ground, the Flintstones. You know, how many Flintstone shows are you going to have on, the Pebbles and Bam Bam show, for crying out loud. You know, I mean, the great Scooby-Doo movies where they have Don Knotts. Hi, everybody. You know, I mean, it's just, I'm Don Knotts.
Yeah, that's great. That's great, man.
No, it's a horrible impression.
I know it is. It's horrible. Hey, speaking of Don Knotts, when we were working on Cats Don't Dance,
Don Knotts came in.
We were working at Turner Pictures, which is the same parking lot as Hanna-Barbera.
Of course.
And I used to walk over to Hanna-Barbera all the time and see the old, where they used to do Johnny Quest and all that stuff, you know, and that was cool for me. But Don Knotts, and we did all recording at Hanna-Barbera. Their soundstage at Hanna-Barbera.
Oh, wow.
All our recording. And Don Knotts came in, and I got to see Harvey Korman, all these guys that came in and did voices for us, a lot of big shot guys and stuff. But Don Knotts did a voice for the turtle character, right? In Cats Don't Dance.
Okay.
And he came in, and this is a great little story. I'll end with this. It's great. And so I'm sitting there.
I'm going to tell you one story about Hanna-Barbera. But
okay.
Yeah, good.
But let me hold on to that story. And I'm sitting there in the sound room, right? And I said, I want to be there for this. Don Knotts, he was my childhood hero, man. I mean, I grew up with Don Knotts, man.
Yeah.
Andy Griffith Show, right? That was I love Don Knotts.
You know,
so he came in.
A little secret. I wanted to grow up and be Don Knotts.
No way.
Yeah, that's right. I'm lying about that. But go ahead.
Oh, but you have more hair than he does, so.
Not much. I don't know. I can count the hairs on 2 hands. And some of them are pasted on, for crying out loud. Right.
No, but here I am, man. I'm this kid. And all of a sudden, I'm in there with my buddy, and we're kind of geeking out. But for me, man, Don Knotts is like, he comes in with this hat. Real nice guy, too, man. He had an hour to record all his lines this one time, and he had like 10 minutes or 5 minutes left of his time, right? And the director and producer kind of turn around and look at us in the box, in the booth, right?
Right.
And they go, hey, guys, we got about 10 more minutes to Don. You guys got any other lines you wanted to, And I'm sitting there, and they turn the mic on inside our booth.
Right.
And I go, have them say, nip it in the bud. I know from right? And if you're a Andy Griffith Show fan and just love the show, you'll know what I'm talking about. But
yes.
I said, nip it in the bud, and he just started laughing. He laughed so hard, and everybody in there was laughing. And he goes, yeah, sure. He gave me 3 or 4 lines with nip it in the bud, different ways of saying it.
Wow.
And I was like, and I went into the booth and I've never done this with anybody. And I was in there, John Rhys Davies, the great actor,
Yes.
I got to be in there with him and talk to him, but Don Knotts is the only guy I remember wanting to get a picture with. But anyway, so I'm in the recording studio and we're in the booth, and when he got done doing his lines, I wanted to get out and get a picture with him. And I walked in there and I put my arm around him. I got a picture with Don Knotts, and that was, man, he was my childhood hero. He'll always be Barney Fife to me. And,
right.
And I had some great moments with Hank Ketchum too, from Dennis the Menace, where I just got to talk to him.
Oh, wow.
And spent time with him and talked to him about his life growing up, and
was he on Cats? Was he working on Cats Don't Dance, or
no? He was actually we're at the Dennis the Menace show that was being done at DIC.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he was there, and people around him, and he did a bunch of drawings showing how to draw the character, and and as soon as he got done, people just grabbed his rough and they ran away. And I was the only one standing there with Hank Ketchum.
Oh, so
and we just got to talking.
Right.
Yeah, I just talked to him about his life growing up. He talked to me, and we just shared his childhood, and that was it.
Right.
And it was the greatest time I had with Hank Ketchum, man. I was just talking about, he was the nicest guy, man. Just talking about him growing up, and that was it.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's pretty
fun. That was fun for me.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
But now you got a story about Don Knotts or Hanna-Barbera or something. You got a story.
Yeah, I'll just tell it really quick. I was getting married, and I was in New York, and I was checking messages on my message machine in California.
Right.
And so there was a message from Bill Hanna. And I was like, Bill, and he said, hi, this is Bill Hanna, and he's like, yeah, I heard you're pretty good, and I want to use you for the Jetsons movie. Right. And,
really?
Like, yeah. And I'm like, and I was shocked, because there was, this guy is a legend,
Yeah. Wow. So he called you. He talked to you on the phone.
He called my answering machine, and left a message.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, I got to call this guy. So I call him up, and he said, yeah, we're working. So yeah, the secretary put me through, and anyway, yeah, we're working on this Jetsons movie, and I want you to be one of the animators on it, and this is what we're paying and whatever. So they weren't hiring anybody in-house. They're freelancing it, and they wanted me to freelance on it.
Right.
So so we set up a day, I think it was, maybe the following Monday, and fly back in. And so I drove up to the studio, and so they have the guard gate there, right? And this guy apparently had been there for years. I don't know. I don't remember his name. But I go to him. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here to see Mr. Hanna. I have an appointment with him, and he goes, "Oh, that rotten bastard!"
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, "What?"
Wow.
And I said, "Yeah."
Did your face drop? Did your expression drop? And like, oh no.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, I didn't know if he was serious or joking or whatever, but I was like, he must have been doing this he must be must have been saying that for years, you know? Because apparently they tolerated him. But
wow.
I was just like, what?
Wow.
Yeah.
And so what happened? Did you
nothing. He gave me the pass, and I parked my car and I went inside, you know, and went up the
he must have
penthouse.
He certainly endeared himself with everybody around there, I guess.
I guess so. It's just,
man, that's how old were you at the time?
What was that? How old was I?
Yeah. How old were you when this happened? I mean,
I don't know, 27.
Still, I mean, you walk up the gate, you're thinking, oh, he's going to be impressed, you know, and all that.
Yeah.
And you're like, gulp. Is he pranking me or what, man? Is he like,
I really didn't know what to make of it. And he gave me the pass, and he seemed pretty cool. He kind of reminded me of George Jetson. It was probably George O'Hanlon. It was probably his day job, you know. But
wow,
I don't know. But anyway, I went into the studio. But that's the simple story. But I just thought it was nobody greets you like that. No guard ever greeted me at a gate like that. Like, who are you here to see? And Bill
that guy, you know,
that
like,
bastard.
Usually they're really nice.
Yeah.
They're really nice, you know. Oh, right this way, sir.
Yeah, but just to clarify, I did not have a bad relationship with Bill Hanna until he fired me, and then that was that's when it all went south.
Oh man,
Matt, it's been good having you. It's been good having you on this podcast.
Well, it's been great, Brian. I enjoyed it, man, and we'll have to do it again and talk about other things. But this has been fun. It was really a lot of fun to catch up.
Yes, and when I call you back tomorrow, when you find out that all of this has been unusable because I forgot to press the record button. We'll see if it's fun all over again.
And all you say under your breath, oh, crap.
Oh, crap. Back to this
2 hours
torture
of my
chamber.
life I'll never get back. Yeah. 2 hours of my life I will never get back.
That's right. Oh, my God.
Oh, man. It's been fun, but I really enjoyed it. And let me tell you something.
Yes,
if I don't come out to New York in the next year, you have to come out here, buddy.
Yeah, I plan on doing that.
And I'll show you around, pal.
Yeah.
I'll show you all the fun stuff I've been working on over the years.
Yeah, I would love to see it. Oh, yeah, okay. So this is the final question.
All right.
If you had, and everybody has their dream project. Everybody has it. Even if you had to go back in time, if you had, what would that be? Would it be?
I can tell you. I don't even need any more. I would work with Walt Disney in 1953, 52 when he started Walt Disney Imagineering, building the park.
Oh, wow.
I wanted to be with with Mary Blair, Mark Davis, all those guys. I wanted to be there. I wanted to be in that environment, that creative environment. That's where I'd want to be.
Wow.
You know, I mean, outside of working back in the days in the 40s and 50s with, Disney feature, Disney animation and all that. Mm-hmm. I'd love to come through that and then work at Walt Disney Imagineering with Walt. That would be absolutely that. If I had to think of one thing, that'd be it.
There you go.
I
think that's one. I would say that would be a thing that would be right up there on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I had a good friend here who I'm trying to get him to do the podcast because he's very funny. He does a lot of voices and stuff, and he's he said to me, if you were alive back in the 40s and 50s, you probably would have been one of the top guys. And I was like, yeah, but you don't really know that. Those guys were really excellent. Yeah. But it was it was just a nice thing to say, but I don't.
It's a very nice thing to say, and thing is, I would have learned so much, man. I would just been around that. It would up our game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it would have upped our game, and being around that creative environment. Just, I think it just would up my game.
Right.
And just, that would have been so cool, and have Walt come through and see what you're working on, and
working as a team, working as a team player,
right,
trying to contribute because, you have faith in the guy.
Yeah.
When you have that much success and you got a guy leading like that, he's leading all these creative people.
Right.
And I don't want to say, because there are people out there that said, oh, Walt was wrong about this and Walt was wrong about that. And I look at it and I go, yeah, but he did a hell of a lot of stuff that was right.
And then you could look at the people that are saying that, though. What have they accomplished? Did they accomplish things Walt did? I mean, you have to he's been through the fire. Walt, listen, me tell you something. Walt got baptized through fire, man.
Right.
Lost his dad, the things in his life. Look at his life, man, and things he had to just overcome to get to where he was. But he always had a chuckle about his setbacks. He always used to chuckle about because he knew that was behind him. And if you hear him talk about his life and just the things he had to deal with, listen, all the people that say negative things say about Walt, really haven't achieved a lot in their life as much as Walt did. And they can say whatever they want about Walt. And I'm sure nobody's perfect, man.
Right.
And we all have flaws. We're all flawed people. And there's not a single person that has that going for them. But,
nobody has brought, this is just my point. Nobody has brought as much joy into people's lives as Walt Disney. And whether it's the theme parks or the animated movies.
Yeah, the creative things he did, and he just kept pushing. He kept going further, and he did it. And
the legacy
people
is
want to, that's just, I don't know, man. It's just people. So anyway.
Yeah. One thing I just want to point out, you have The Wonderful World of Walt, which was produced at Creative Capers. You were involved with that. This is a stop motion Walt Disney with some
all his interviews. We did 5 interviews we took little snippets of Walt's interviews in the last 50 years of his life, and this was from 1960. And we took these 5 little snippet of interviews, and they're very fun. And we did stop motion to them. And
I thought they were very loving tributes to the man. And
it was.
Yeah, and I watched it, and there's a lot of magic there.
Yeah, I mean, why? It's because we did it with no money. We didn't get paid for it. We did it on our own time, before and after hours. And it was just it was just the work of love, man. It was just something we wanted to do. And Dave Molina was behind sculpting the head. Terry Shakespeare did the rest of it, and did the mouth shapes. And the 3 of us who were animators, we had no knowledge of stop motion. We just dove into it, and we did it. And if you get a chance to watch them on YouTube, they're called The Wonderful World of Walt. And there's 5 episodes, and they were a lot of fun to do and enjoy them.
You worked on all 5 of them?
I worked on, I'll tell you what I worked on. I worked on 3 of the 5 because, and the same thing with those guys. They directed them, but they worked on 3 of the 5 also, because what we did was we all worked on 3 of them together. Mm-hmm. And then there was 2 of them where we did just individually. Like one I did all by myself.
Oh,
and there was
which one was that?
Dave.
Which one was
that was the one. That's the one where you see some drawing artwork too. It's like a little drawing with the goat. It tells about the goat. Oh. And he took his kids to the fair, and he brought home a goat. And his wife said, "We ain't gonna have no goat at the house." He had to take the goat back, and it's a funny little story. And I got to do the stop motion, and I did the art for it.
Cool.
And then I animated on 2 others out of the 5, and then Terry did one by himself, and Dave Molina did one by himself, and the rest of them we did as a whole, as a group.
They're a lot of fun. There's magic to them, and you can really see the love behind those things. So,
that's what we wanted. That's what we wanted.
The Wonderful World of Walt on you. They're short, 2-3 minutes, maybe something like that.
Yeah. Well, the first one is like a minute and a half. The other one, or almost 2.5 minutes, I think. So it's a long one, and then the rest of them are fairly short. They're shorter than the first one. So.
Yeah, I'll check them out.
But, yeah, they're fun. They're fun, and we had a lot of fun.
I'm gonna watch them again. I'm gonna watch them again just for the.
Yeah. And if you've never seen them, watch them, and I hope you fall in love with them.
Put a little Walt back in your life,
Yes, that's it. Little words of Walt.
Matt, it's been terrific having you.
Well, thanks, buddy.
I think we could still cover some more ground, but I just think that if you want to come back, I'd love to have you back and talk some more.
Yeah, we can cover other things, because I'm sure there are things that we haven't even talked about. So
that's right.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of stuff.
A lot of years, buddy.
Like that story about the guy and some animation artist who went to Vegas and won $1 million and blew it in one night.
Yeah, $100,000 and a car, and he managed to lose it all in one night.
Yeah, and we're not going to mention his name.
No, we will not mention his name because we were good at that.
We are because he will. I know the guy will personally get a shotgun and.
Do you have any questions or comments about the podcast? Please email Brian at cartoonerific.com. Your email may be featured in one of our future shows.
Well, we're back. Okay, we're going to wrap it up. Next week, we have on Mike Milo, who is an animator, animation director. He's done a lot of different things. Worked with him on Animaniacs and Schnookums and Meat for Disney. He also worked on Tasmania. He's currently directing new Woody Woodpecker cartoons. Woohoo! So anyway, it's going to be a great interview. We hope to see you next week. So have a great day. Have a great Cartoonerific week. And we'll see you soon. And thank you for listening.
This has been a Cartoonerific Studios presentation.
The Cartoonerific podcast is copyright 2024 by Cartoonerific Studios Incorporated. All rights reserved.